Barcelona did beat Almeria 3-2 with a goal coming from Raphinha and 2 goals coming from Sergi Roberto. Barcelona pulled through, they got the 3 points, but let me tell you, to see Barcelona suffer like this against a team that was in the 20th place in La Liga, it's kind of embarrassing. It really is. Yes, am I going to give credit to the players and the coach for trying to bring this game back up in the second half? Yes, of course. I like the way that the energy did change in the second half, but still, if Barcelona want to be great, if Barcelona want to win the Champions League, if they want to win La Liga, if they want to win the treble, if they truly want to become one of the best versions of Barcelona that we have ever seen in its history, you cannot suffer against teams like this. And they cannot score 2 goals that went so easy for them, because Barcelona conceded the most funniest, most ridiculous goals that we have ever seen. Like the errors that we see coming from Barcelona defensively is something that you would see in 3rd division football. And unfortunately, it had to come through Araujo and Iñaki Peña. And we saw some other individual errors coming from other players in the back line. And I'm like, what is this? Where is the focus? Where's the intensity? Because the only reason why things like this even happen in the first place is because you do lack the intensity. You do lack the focus. This team right here, Barcelona, do not have that currently. We have said this so many times. This conversation that I'm having with you guys right here, I feel like I've already said this numerous times. But guess what? Barcelona do not show up numerous times. They don't show that they want to represent this badge. And that is again embarrassing. What a way to close out this year. What a way to showcase to the world how difficult it is to beat Barcelona, right? Wow, it's so amazing. And you know what's crazy? The reason why Almeria did not tie against us, which is again a 20th place team in La Liga, 20th place, most likely they will be relegated. The fact that this team did not see the 3-3 in the dying last minutes of the game is because Iñaki Peña made that heroic save. That, my friends, is the reason why Barcelona did not lose the full 3 points. It was through those small little details, as if Barcelona were playing against Bayern Munich or if they were playing against Manchester City. Like the level that this team is at right now, it blows my freaking mind. And the reason why we even won this match through 3 goals is not because of Lewandowski, it's not because of Joao Felix, it's not because of Ferran Torres, it's not because of Gundogan, it's not because of Cancelo, but it is because of Sergi Roberto, a player who has only played in 5 games so far this season. Sergi Roberto scored 2 goals against Almeria. Now you may say, but Kevin, that's not bad. Look at how Sergi Roberto, the captain of Barcelona, was able to bring up Barcelona and get the 3 points. And I understand that. I understand why some people might be happy about this moment. But here's the thing. Sergi Roberto has now equaled Raphinha, Joao Felix, and Ferran Torres in goals in La Liga this season with 3, despite only Sergi Roberto playing 5 matches, while the other players like Joao Felix, Raphinha, Ferran Torres have played numerous games. That, my friends, is how bad Barcelona have been offensively. We miss so many chances that any one of our players can become a top scorer in the team easily if they have one good game. So we're weaker offensively and we're weaker defensively from the previous season. I don't know what happened. I don't know where the focus and the intensity got lost. You would assume that this team would get better because we have reinforced certain positions, but it is just not the case. And I do have a theory. I have been really thinking about this. I'm like, what could be the reason why Barcelona look less effective and why we're conceding more goals? I just feel like it's because we lost 3 players that Xavi Hernandez was counting on since the goddamn day that he took this job. He relied on Dembélé, Sergio Busquets, and Xavi. And why am I saying this? It is because Dembélé was a great right winger. You may say, right, that Dembélé was nothing to Barcelona, but that is because you are frustrated. That is because you feel the betrayal from Dembélé. But at the end of the day, let's be real here. Take away the Barcelona cap for a second and just really think about how effective Dembélé was for Xavi Hernandez. Xavi Hernandez said, I'll make Dembélé the best right winger in the world, and he did. He was effective. He was good on 1v2s, 1v3s, 1v4s. He created multiple chances over and over again. He got a lot of assists last season, and Barcelona lost that player. Xavi Hernandez lost the most effective player in the attack last summer, and now Xavi Hernandez is going to have to deal with that type of absence and see how he can utilize Raphinha and Lamine Yamal, which is going to be taking some time. And then when we talk about Sergio Busquets was the best pivot that Barcelona had, right? Because he was good in intercepting. He knew how to find and pick those passes to one of the players. He was always able to counter press. Sergio Busquets was everything to this Barcelona team, and Barcelona were just not ready for his departure. They could not find the player, whether it was from outside of the club in Europe or from inside of the club. And Barcelona till this day, they don't have it. Now for a second there through this season, Xavi Hernandez did find some sort of solution. He actually thought that the solution towards not having Sergio Busquets was to have a midfield 3 of Xavi, Frenkie, and Cancelo. I don't know if you guys remembered, right? But we were playing in a 2-3-5 with Xavi, Frenkie, and Cancelo right in front of Koundé and Araujo. And it worked well for the moment, right? Because Xavi was the one that was able to steal the ball, which is something that Sergio Busquets had. And then we also had Frenkie, the one that was able to drive the ball up forward. And then we had the extra defensive coverage of Joao Cancelo and his great way of crossing and making the through passes in the middle. all of those skill sets used to be in just one player, and that was Sergio Busquets. So we're like, okay, this makes sense. It makes sense that he's putting 3 different profile players in the middle of the pitch. It's working out well. But eventually it led towards Barcelona conceding even more goals, because what happened was many of the opponents were making long balls over that midfield and straight to Jules Koundé or Araujo, and then it left Jules Koundé and Araujo go on 1v1s against one of the forwards. And so that was a temporary solution, but the teams, the opponents, they caught on. And eventually we just found out that we just could not replace Sergio Busquets. So Xavi lost another one. And then eventually Xavi Hernandez now lost Xavi. And for 9 to 10 months, probably a year, the one player that gave out the maximum intensity, that gave out the most heart, the most soul. So I can see why Xavi Hernandez and the players are struggling so much, is because of all of these absences, right? It's just the system is no longer working. But here's going to be another thing that I do want to say. This, my friends, should not be an excuse for Barcelona and the players to just play so soft. Whether Xavi is there or not, whether Dembele or Sergio Busquets is there or not, that should not be an excuse for these players to move the ball slow, to play so soft, to not look like they want to play. Because you can always give 100% more. You can always give an extra percentage. You can always give that extra effort. I don't see that from these players. So those are like 2 factors that I see why Barcelona struggles so much, is because we lost certain players, and also because the players that we have now present and available, they don't even try. So Barcelona have been so bad as of late. Xavi Hernandez had a press conference after the game was over, right? And he had probably one of the most legendary press conferences that we have heard since the day he was hired as the coach of this club. Probably the best press conference. For the first time, Xavi Hernandez is pointing at the players and he's letting them know the reality. And so this is what Xavi had to say after the match was over. This is a match that should have ended 2-0 or 3-0, but the team does not have the spirit that it showed last season. We lack the aggressiveness and the focus, and that is unacceptable, which is true. We have spoken about this so many times. Me and you guys, right, to the fans, we have been pointing this out since September, and we would have all loved to hear for Xavi to say this back in September, but it took them 5 to 6 months to realize, yes, this was the problem. And then Xavi continued. In 2010, we had the best Barcelona in history, and now we're not. Last year, we didn't win titles because of our individual quality. We won titles because we are a team. And that is Xavi basically saying, I don't care if you're good individually. I don't care if your name is Joao Felix. I don't care if your name is Lewandowski. I don't care if your name is Raphinha, and I don't care if your name is Pedri or Frankie de Jong. I don't care if your name is Araujo or Koundé. I don't care where you have been. I don't care what titles you have won. If you guys have won any, you guys will not win a single thing at this Barcelona club if you guys do not play as a team, because that team in 2010 played like an actual unit. They supported each other. They ran like animals. They played with high intensity. They believed that they could win any trophy that is presented to them. Then Xavi continued to talk about that 2010 team, and this is what he said. We don't have the quality of the 2010 Barcelona. Forget about it. The reality is that if we don't give our best efforts, we can't beat absolutely anybody. And that is also Xavi saying, look, the players that we had in 2010, those players are like in a whole other different level. These players that we have right now at the club will not reach that type of quality. Like, none of these players is Messi. None of these players is Iniesta. None of these players is Xavi. And that's okay, because what you need to do first before even thinking about whether you can be the next Messi or the next Iniesta or the next Xavi or the next Dani Alves is just think about playing as a team. Because if you don't play as a team and you don't put that first, you won't win anything. And that is what Xavi Hernandez, again, is saying. He's saying you can't beat nobody if you don't bring the aggressiveness or the focus. Then Xavi continued, as a manager, I told the players that I can't accept the first half. We're not the 2010 Barcelona. We lack in effectiveness. We have to make up in aggressiveness. We can't play like this. Then he continues, today was my hardest ever halftime talk as a manager. It worked very well. Did you see the second half? I think that at the halftime talk went quite well, honestly. I spoke very clearly and I saw the effect on the players, which is why many of us saw Barcelona turn the game around in the second half. They felt what Xavi was saying. Xavi was screaming to the players. There were multiple sources claiming that Xavi was screaming, he was being very aggressive, he was in the players' faces saying that you guys are embarrassing, that you guys are not out there showing that you guys care about the results of this club. And that, my friends, is exactly what we need. We need that type of talks in Barcelona. We need the intensity coming from the coach to scream at the players and saying, what the hell are you doing? And Xavi made it very clear. He said this, I can see that the players lack hunger and attitude. It's my responsibility and it won't happen again for sure. Then he even wanted to reference Vitor Roque, a player that will be coming in about 2 or 3 weeks. Vitor Roque has the intensity and the hunger, and that is is exactly what I have been talking about. He has the winning mentality. We'll see how he does adapt, but he can be crucial for us. And I hope that Vitor comes in and kind of showcase some examples on how players should be performing on the pitch. It's all about the hunger. It's all about the intensity. It's all about the focus. And this honestly does give me some confidence that maybe eventually Lewandowski might get benched, because it's a shame, right, to see that Lewandowski played the full 90 minutes while Joao Felix had to leave early, Ferran Torres had to come in. Raphinha also had to come out, even though he scored 1 goal and provided 1 assist, and Lamine Yamal had to come in for Raphinha. And I'm like, okay, really? Like, you're gonna take out these players, but not Lewandowski, the one player that can't even score to save his life? Like it came to a point where, like, in the game, he was trying to score a goal with his ass cheeks. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? Like, is this even football? Does Lewandowski even take football seriously? And so I hope that Xavi Hernandez has the bravery when we come back to say Lewandowski will be benched and Vitor Roque is coming in, because I see him much more determined than Lewandowski. So I hope that this is the end of a bad phase and we go into the next year and we see a new Barcelona. And I'm not even talking about like a different starting 11. I'm talking about, I want to see a new Barcelona that's different spiritually and mentally, because that is the only thing that is missing. And this, we can also say maybe the players itself, maybe the starting 11 could change. Maybe we could see Pedri and Vitor Roque start against Las Palmas, and that's very exciting. I can't wait to see what Vitor and Pedri could do together, or what Vitor and Frankie could also do together, or what Gundogan and Vitor and Raphinha could eventually make. So there is still hope for this team. We just have to fight very hard. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's post-match review. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.